All right, awesome. Well, it's just about almost 11:10, so I think we can start to get things kicked off. Does that sound all right with you?
Yeah, awesome.
All right, let's get going. Okay, so to start us off today, I'm gonna start by talking about our conversation too many alerts, not enough action, and fixing the sim fatigue problem. And then around halfway through, Rolf is going to take over and share with us about Wazuh. And then we're going to come back together and kind of wrap up and talk a little bit more about that mini fridge giveaway. So, for a brief of an agenda today, we were just going to start off by addressing the sim fatigue problem. We're going to talk about Loricca and our role in kind of helping reduce alert noise. And then Rolf will share how Wazuh is able to help play their part as well. Then we're going to come back together and speak a little bit about how we work together. We'll have a Q&A section at the end, so feel free to leave questions at any point in the comments throughout the webinar, and we will address them at that point. We'll talk a little bit about how you can enter into the giveaway. You have to stay till the end to be entered into the random selection of the giveaway for the mini fridge you can put on your desk, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. All right, so my name is Amanda Deering. If you don't know who I am an information security analyst at Loricca. I've been with the team for 3 years, and if you're not familiar with Loricca, we are a managed security service provider as well as a cybersecurity consulting company. We have a plethora of industries that we work in, primarily in the United States, but mainly our clients are in the healthcare, government, or other regulated industry markets. So I'm just going to dive right in to talk about the SIM fatigue problem itself. We found a recent survey released by SANS in 2024 of SOC teams, and they found that 66% or two-thirds of all SOC teams can't keep up with the pace of the alerts that they're getting. SOC teams are being inundated with these constant alerts, and the team members within the SOC are more likely to glaze over real critical threats with the flood of alerts that they're receiving. We see that over time with SIM and alert fatigue, organizations begin to feel long-term effects from this with SOC team burnout and high turnover, which in the long run can increase labor costs for businesses due to training and hiring and the time it takes for new SOC team members to get used to their specific systems and ticketing systems and their SIM. We also see that the problem arises security and compliance risks as well, and it begins to create gaps both technically and operationally within internal systems for businesses. So why does SIM fatigue happen? There's many aspects that can contribute to SIM fatigue without having any customization to your SIM. Default SIM rules create an overwhelming amount of alerts for the SOC team members to be able to review. These alerts are often presented to team members without a lot of context or correlation to other logs or previous alerts and their resolutions, so how things were historically handled. We see that with the high alert of alerts coming in, it's difficult for teams to prioritize their time on which alerts to tackle first, and they're often having to perform manual, repeatable, time-consuming triage processes. Some recommendations we have to help remediate the SIM fatigue problem include alert prioritization, more contextualized alerts, automated processes, as well as bringing in some third-party experience, which is where we come in, Loricca. A little bit about us and how our managed SOC can help reduce alert noise. So we do bring in that third-party expertise as well as an extra set of eyes with our own managed SOC team. We can help with your Wazuh SIM with custom rule building as well as strategy for your own systems and what's pertinent and important to your business. We have systems where we can help with automated triage, as well as our own team that's equipped with repeatable incident response playbooks for common scenarios that we see come up in the SIEM and SOC logs. We also have a SOAR integration that goes both into the Wazuh SIEM as well as whatever ticketing platform you need to use and other systems to help automate and streamline processes. We are also able to integrate our own threat intelligence feeds or any threat intelligence feeds our customers are able to provide to us to assist in providing more context for these alerts that we were given. Here we have an example of one of our customers putting some money where our mouth is with some statistics. So with one of our customers, they have around 2.5 million alerts per day coming through to their SIEM. And before working with us, they had to escalate 1,000 of those alerts that they were seeing. They still get the same amount of alerts coming in every day, but they get directed to our SOC instead, where we review around 500 of the most critical alerts and then escalate around 2 to the end customer, which definitely reduces the amount of noise going their way. So this kind of concludes the first part of our webinar. I am going to hand it over to Rolf, where he is going to talk about how Wazuh can help reduce the SIEM fatigue problem.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to start off perhaps with a little presentation on myself. So I'm a all-time system administrator. I'm a technician. I'm from a technical background. So some of the examples that I will be showing you are related to the Linux operating system because those are my areas of expertise. I will try to explain a little bit on that, on how the same things can be applied to other operating systems. So not to worry, we can apply to pretty much anything out there that we can monitor. We can use the same tools that we have that I'm going to show here to other operating systems. So real quick, what are we going to talk about is to understand the information we're getting from all the different systems, and then how to get data from that or get relevant data from that. As Amanda already mentioned, is sometimes we're getting more quantity than we are getting quality. So trying to understand quality is very important. And then how to build dashboards that make sense and some simple metrics for the rest. So that's a little bit on what we're going to focus on in terms of dashboards and to say visualizations. And then I'm gonna try to help you understand a little bit on the advanced customizations that we can do. I don't have a lot of examples on that because, well, I'll try not to make it real boring showing code, but I'll try to explain on the logic behind it, like how it works and what it does. And based on that, it'll make sense, let's say, on the flexibility that we can provide both Wazuh on its own, but also working with added values such as what Loricca provides and integrations as well to threat intelligence feeds or also to incident response software. So first off, I'm going to show you a little bit on the architecture of our platform real quick. I promise you won't fall asleep here. There are three main components into our platform. When we're ingesting data, when we're getting data from all the different endpoints, we process that information using the Wazuh server. And then when the information is all processed, it gets forwarded to the Wazuh indexer, which is a full text and analytics engine where we build our dashboards, we create our reports. And then finally, the dashboard is a web portal through which us users interact with that information and those configurations as well. So I'll be showing you both those paths. The one where we're gathering data and using that to build meaningful reports, and then how we configure to actually filter out noise right from the start so it never gets to be indexed in any way. So those are a little bit on the two paths that we're going to take today as I'm explaining things that we're doing. So in terms of the dashboard, and actually let me go here to our dashboard. These are all the events that are happening. I want to explain a little bit on the scenario that we have here. I launched a server, a web hosting service, a very simple one. I'm going to use it. Nobody hosts their pages right nowadays, but I want to use this as an example just because of these are some services I'm very familiar with, and most likely you're already familiar with as well. So I installed like a hosting solution there where we have email, pages, DNS, and other services running. So I am monitoring all of those different services on this on our Wazuh platform. So I have like the host here, and then another test environment. Now, from the host, we do gather some very relevant information. We can understand the software packages that are installed. Are those up to date? So we have a vulnerability detection module, a security configuration assessment, and the file integrity monitor. Now, these are very, let's say, generic, general dashboards that we can get, or information that we can get from all the modules that are working. But as information is flowing into our platform, I'm going here to a threat hunting module. This is a module that allows us to understand events that are happening within the platform. Um, so we have the last 24 hours. We have a quick overview on the events that are happening here. And we can drill down to that to very specific time ranges. We have a lot of events, for example, happening at the beginning of this running process. I think it was, 3 days ago that I got to actually load it up. So we have a lot of events happening there, and then I filtered some things in the middle just to, well, later on explain what things were happening. So this is a quick overview. We can get these in real time, so we can see what's going on. You can put this on a, like a how do you call this, like a monitoring room where you can have real time approach into things that are happening within your environment. And as things are happening, you can, for example, also limit events to the things that are relevant to you. In the same way, you are going to get a lot of data, you need to filter that out. And I use two terms here. I don't know if they're applicable here, but I filter in data, meaning I want to see what's going on a server, or what's going on a service of that service. So we can apply filters as we are trying to look for specific events for a specific service. Um, Rather than looking at all the things that are happening on all the different servers. So, servers, sorry, that would be the correct expression. So we can apply filters and limit event data. You can also search for keywords for that matter, as you're trying to pinpoint specific type of information or trying to understand what's going on. These filters can also be, custom built for your organization. Let me find that very quick example here. I want to see, for example, I don't know, the pure FTP events. So we can have a look at data and real-time data as well, from what we're getting from all the different services. Now, I'm using very simple examples here, like a EMAP, a POP server, an FTP server. For you, it can be a web service, an API. It can be your own application, or your product as is generating events for your organization in terms of what's going on. So that's the first approach. We get to see the data in real time. But in real time, as things are happening, or as security events are happening, you might get a lot of noise. So that's where the dashboard play an integral role, because we are able to build custom dashboards where we can map, for example, and we can get a sense um, of the data that we're getting into relevant information for our organization. So in the same way we are, for example, monitoring all of those different services, I can see each of those events in real time as they're happening. This is for the last 4 days. If I lower this to the last 24 hours, most likely I will have very little events. Yeah, because I was already applying filters here. So I'm getting ahead of myself. These are some of the things that we can do to limit the amount of information that we're getting from the different services. And all of the data that we're looking at here is related to the events, or sorry, the services events that we're getting using the Waza agent. We can monitor other type of devices as well. We can monitor network switches, firewalls, UTMs, and other type of devices. So we can trigger alerts based on pretty much anything that generates a messaging within your organization. And we can use it to generate meaningful dashboards that will help you understand what's really going on. So filtering in means getting the data that you need without showing the rest of the noise. You can use the opposite approach. I want to see data, or I want to see everything else that is not the meaningful things that I have, so I can constantly go through my dashboard, understanding the things either that are relevant and things that are happening but not like directly related to the events that we're picking up. So we have these very basic dashboards for the last 3 days. And I can, for example, perform searches as well as I'm looking for data, like I said, filtering in, filtering out data. I can look for meaningful information within it as well. I want to see, I don't know, the endpoint IP. I want to see a description of the problem. Or the event, actually, it shouldn't be a problem. Maybe it's just a security relevant event. Sorry, that's not the correct word here. Um, I want to see the alert level, for example, because some events might be or will have an increased alert level than others. And these are the things that allow us to understand the things that are happening. And I can apply filters to that only for the services that I want to see. And also I can choose, for example, to edit this filter, and perhaps rather than seeing what's related to my mail service, I want to see what is not related to my web service. As you can see, there's a lot of information not related to the web service that is relevant to what's happening within my platform. So in a very simple approach, it's not just about getting the data, which is a very important and relevant thing. It's about understanding the data for your or that makes sense to your organization. Um, each server will have its own like a main task. I don't know, a mail server, you obviously want to monitor the mail activities, but you also want to monitor, I don't know, success logins to the machines, you're using other services or other accesses, sorry. um, Now, all of this information, the things that I was showing you, like I said, they're related to a Linux operating system that I'm monitoring right now. But we can also monitor the Windows operating system in the same way. If we have an application that's running on Windows, if we have command execution that happens or privilege escalation that happens on the Windows operating system, we can also map that. So rest assured that we can get data and show relevant information based on that on all the multiple operating systems that you might have within your organization. Now, as these searches are built and this relevant data is being filtered out, we can use that information into, like I said, building meaningful dashboards that make sense to your organization. I can simply edit this and add a specific, I don't know, a specific search that I was just saved. And well, I can see that here, or I can even reuse event data that I'm getting. So I can add, for example, um, the web server tab 10. I think I want to have, I actually want to create a new one, and I want to add visualization, table visualization, for example. And I want to add those, I don't know, general events that we're looking at earlier on. So as we are building out the dashboard, we can easily customize this according to your requirements. Now, here's the thing. Now, our tool provides, like I said, the tools and mechanisms for you to perform this type of analysis for this type of customizations. But relying on, for example, our partners like Loricca, they are the ones that better understand your security policies. Our product provides the tools and mechanisms, but they understand your security policies. So they can help you map those security policies into what's meaningful in terms of dashboards, what's meaningful in terms of the data that you're getting, and also how to apply specific filters to tone down on the noise. Now, the dashboard, like I said, this is an approach into information that we already have, information that we were processing, that was already processed. Sorry, going back here. Sorry about that. Information that was already processed and is indexed for us to search for. But we can also apply customizations right at the processing stage on that data, and we have different tools to do that. And remember that we talked that all these different rules, or all these different events have a rule level that we can search for. These rule levels are normally stored and indexed from level 3 and above. So there are levels which are not saved. And we usually resource to a level, another level 0. So we can silence those events that are not relevant to our organization. And there's a little mix and match here that you can do. I want to show you real quick. I won't focus so much on the code, but I will focus on the things that we can manage. So at the beginning of these 3 days, like I said, we had a lot of events happening here. Sorry, I'm going to limit this here, and perhaps we can have a look at that. Oh, sorry about that. Uh, so let me unpin this and we can focus on this data right here. So these are the events that were happening a couple of days ago before I apply any filters. So within the event details, we see a lot of information from our mail server, the Dove code here. So we had a lot of data that didn't make much sense. It was just fail logins. They didn't have like a specific IP address to pinpoint to. So it didn't make sense to keep this information in. So what I did was I performed some configurations into the platform where I created custom rules, what we call, and I silenced some of those rules. The ones that were very noisy, they have a unique ID. So I use an ID for that, and I set up the rule level 0. So rather than maintaining that data, I was silencing those so it wouldn't make much of a difference. Now, these are some of the rules that I choose to silence on, or yeah, silence on. But there are other rules that I do want to monitor, and I do want to monitor when specific fields are available. So we had, for example, here a fail to ban event where I had an internal tool. Fail to ban is an internal tool that what it does is when it's picking up different connections from a service, and there are fail logins or things like that, they automatically block it with the local firewall. So I do have a couple of events based on the fail to ban option, or the fail to ban service that I was using. Now, these fail to ban, for example, doesn't have like an equivalent in Windows. So what we do is we use, for example, Wazuh's automation tools to perform that blocking. So we have a way to limit events from the start, like without even allowing the user, or in this case the endpoint, to connect to like a problematic IP or something like that. So and we are able to generate what we call active responses. This is a module within our platform that allows us to perform automations. For example, if we have a source IP address, and we actually had a couple of IP addresses from the beginning that were generating a lot of noise within our platform, we can automatically block these IP addresses with the local firewall on a Windows machine using active response tools. We had failed to ban on this Linux server, but on a Windows machine, we don't have fail to ban, so we can use Wazuh's tool to perform these automations and stop the connection from the start, rather than getting the information, silencing that information, or um, generating noise from that as well. So as you can see, there are different approaches that you can take, either by gathering all the data. And this is important to understand in terms of your security policies, because some regulations require you to save all of the data, the success login and the fail logins. So in that case, your only choice is to, when you're generating dashboards, silencing those fail logins so you can focus on the things that are relevant, the success logins and other things. In other situations, your regulatory compliance requirements um, might not force you to say fail logins. So you can, for example, silence those rules. But you can silence those rules and focus on criteria. I'm going to silence the fail logins there are for non-existing users. For the existing users, like admin or any other type of services, sorry, any type of users, I do want to have. So you can use criteria to set level 0 silencing alerts from the start, and you can use criteria to save that data in other situations as well, or with other criteria in mind. um, so those are the different approaches. And in terms of what we can do within Wazuh, we can provide a lot of out of the box automations to block IP address, to even disconnect the host from the network, or to disable a user account. But Loricca, as they better understand your security policies, perhaps can help you customize that and do some very specific type of actions. I don't know, a web service is having an issue. Well, I don't know, measure performance rather than killing the connection, or I don't know, understanding events that are coming from a WAF, like a web application firewall. Building automations that would allow you to improve the WAF blocking capabilities. So there are many things that, like I said, there are things that we provide out of the box, and there are things that can be custom built for you. So in those terms, that's where our added value comes into place. Our product will give you the tools and mechanisms, but is your partner the one that better understands your security policies and your requirements? And based on that, we can build things that are adjusted and adapted to your organization. I'm gonna provide links here for the documentation in our like GitHub repository. Wazuh is an open source solution, so you already have access, full access to the platform and its out of the box tools. But like I said, Loricca will help you adjust and adapt these to your security policies. You can even try a POC with them, open a trial, and help them out, or they can help you out actually, to get the best of this. And with that, I'm done. So I thank you so much for your time, Amanda. Back to you.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rolf. That was great. A really nice demo. Really appreciate it. I am going to remove your screen and we're going to kind of wrap things up for today. So, yeah, kind of as we've been mentioning throughout this with Rolf and I, Loricca and Wazuh really partner together to help streamline the process all the way through to you, the end user. Using Wazuh's SIEM tool, we take it and help manage it for you, and we even provide our own SOC. And together, we help to reduce the amount of alerts that are headed your way. So this is where we have our kind of Q&A section. We saw that we have one question come in so far from YouTube, from Hadi, asking, what are the basic requirements to build the dashboards? And do I need to know the syntax? So, Rolf, you can get some insight to this, but I'm, really what the beauty of working with a Wazuh partner like ourselves, Loricca, is that we can help kind of understand what dashboards you're looking to build and what you're looking to see out of them. And we can help you create those custom dashboards.
I was just about to say that, because although it is you can use a familiar approach like keywords. Searching for a keyword is not difficult within our platform. You have a search box that will allow you to do that. But building dashboards does require you to understand, or to not only to understand syntax, but actually to understand the data and the data types that you have. So it could be a bit overwhelming to a newcomer, but I promise it's very intuitive once you start using the platform. And but like Amanda said, well, you actually don't need to focus so much on that. You can rely on your partner for them to help you understand the things that are happening and to get the best of the platform. So you can focus on the, let's say, the strategic information rather than trying to battle on which field to use to filter out like a mail event or where to get the users and things like that. The
Yep.
information is there though, but it is better to rely on someone to help you that.
Yep. Absolutely. And looking in the comments, it looks like that is the only question we have for now. If there's any other questions, go ahead and feel free to leave them now. But that's the main question that we've received so far. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the giveaway portion of the webinar. If any other questions come up, we can crystal clear. All
What
right,
we were
awesome.
all expecting, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, crystal clear. So thank you for saying that. So yeah, we also have some more information for you guys. Rolf has some documentation, but we've also been able to provide an example of Loricca's SOC alert triage flowchart. So if you want to scan that QR code, you are able to get instant access to that today. Below, we also have a place where if you wanted to scan that QR code, you could book a one-on-one meeting with both Loricca and Wazuh to answer any other questions you have, potentially create a demo environment, or explore more from both of us. So it is time to talk about the giveaway for the aforementioned mini fridge. We really wanted to wait and see who would be around to the end. So if you could leave something in the comments, such as mini fridge, that way we know you've stuck around, and then we will enter you into the random giveaway. And then we are going to announce the winner on LinkedIn, and we'll also reach out to you personally to let you know that you had won the mini fridge, and we will make arrangements to get it shipped to you. So go ahead and leave a comment, fridge, mini fridge, and that way we can get you entered into the giveaway.
I'm using my personal profile now. A
Yeah.
new user was added to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my cat's LinkedIn page. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining today. I know it's hard to take some time out of your workday to come and listen to a webinar, but we hope that you learned something new today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We have our LinkedIn information posted here. Again, here's the QR code to download our example SOC alert triage flowchart. Here is our contact information listed here as well. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, leave them below. But thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Rolf. That was awesome.
No, no worries. Thank you for the time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Oh, it looks like we have another question come in from Hadi. I'll show it here now. Besides setting level 0, is that any approach?
Yeah, actually, well, there are a couple. There is a like a proactive approach where you can use tools like fail to ban or active response, for example. So you're getting data, but you're blocking it before it actually generates an event for you. So setting level 0 will silence an alert, but in some cases you don't want to silence an alert, but you do want to block the connection. So you can apply automations back, let's say on the like on the endpoint, on the server, or your workstation and so on. So automations are the way to go when you do not want to use level 0, when you do not want to silence, but you still want to stop the connection that it's a bit fishy. So that's another approach to have. um, Either or, I mean, you can use a set of these different tools working together. Sharing level 0 is one of those, blocking is it's another, and then again also filtering information, it's the third filter for that. So you end up having relevant data shown to you, and you can still apply other security policies rather than just finding out that something tried to connect and failed. Perhaps block it before it starts. So you can use multiple approaches to that, and they can all work together. Doesn't need to be one or the other.
Awesome. Yeah, he has another follow-up question. It looks like here, fail to ban, allow us drop before index.
It will. Yeah. But you want to get, for example, events from fail to ban that you actually blocked it. So you want to find out that something was blocked, just at least to understand that was an event that took place and an automation took place. But like I said, active responses, fail to ban, or other tools, you can use your own security tools for that matter. If you have like a local firewall, you can use the local firewall. You don't need fail to ban for that. But the idea is for you to get to know what's going on, at least if you're not like indexing data for all the fail logins, at least getting the data, sorry, or getting the information that something was blocked. It's still very relevant for your security policies or for your internal use to understand how many like IP have you blocked in the last week or things like that.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks Rolf so much. I think that's gonna wrap up the question on that one. I'm not seeing anything else come in the comments. Everybody speak now or forever hold your peace on the mini fridge giveaway. Go ahead, and we'll still be able to see the comments. So if you want to drop it in there before we end the live stream about being entered into the giveaway. Other than that, again, Rolf, thanks so much. Yeah, that was a great demonstration today, and thank you everybody for joining.
Have a good one.
All right, thanks y'all. Bye.